All right, we're getting this party started here. What we're doing here, talking about tarot for personal development, doing this two different ways at the same time. We're doing a video here for Facebook and YouTube and Rumble and other fine platforms. And we're also doing a live space on X. Now, let me see. Yep, we got the microphone on. We are modulating. We're modulating in both places. Good morning, X. Good morning, everywhere else on video. What we're going to be talking about today is tarot for personal development. Going to be taking a look at the Magician card. Now, one thing I want to point out with the Magician card, the Magician has all 5 elements here that are represented in the tarot with his hand reaching upwards. You've got the element of spirit. He's reaching up to the heavenly realms, the realm of spirit, channeling that energy back to the earth. You've got this suit of cups, the element of water and love and relationships, things like that. You've got wands in there, and you've got swords. Wands representing creativity, and another representation of spirit. Swords representing knowledge and the mental world. And then you've also got the suit of pentacles there, representing monetary gifts, monetary assets. And what I like to do when I do a little tarot presentation like this, I've started opening up with the scripture because one thing that I firmly believe and practice, and have been practicing for many years, is that tarot can serve as a universal visual scripture. That in these cards, each card representing a different archetype, you also see themes that are present within the scriptures of all the world religions. So whether you're a Christian, Jew, Muslim, Hindu, atheist, whatever. I don't know what scriptures atheists read. Buddhism. A lot of good atheists in Buddhism. A lot of very spiritual atheists in Buddhism. So the Buddhist scriptures. But I mean, you can find relevant texts in those scriptures that relate to the tarot cards. Now, today, I'm going to read out of 1 Corinthians chapter 12, verses 27 to the end. And this is where Paul is talking about spiritual gifts. And then he talks about the greatest gift of all. And that's what the magician here represents. Different gifts, different talents, different abilities. And your talents can be seen as gifts from the divine source. So let's get into it. Paul says, "Now you are the body of Christ, and individually members of it. And God has appointed in the church first apostles, second prophets, third teachers, then deeds of power, then gifts of healing, forms of assistance, forms of leadership, and various kinds of tongues. Are all apostles? Are all prophets? Are all teachers? Do all work powerful deeds and miracles? Do all possess gifts of healing? Do all speak in tongues? Do all interpret? But strive for the greater gifts, and I will show you a still more excellent way." And then Paul goes on in 1 Corinthians chapter 13, what I call the love chapter. He talks about the greatest gift of all. And I'm going to read a few more lines from 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verses 1 to 3. "If I speak in the tongues of humans and in the tongues of angels, but do not have love, I am a noisy gong, a clanging cymbal. If I have prophetic powers and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have all faith so as to move mountains, but do not have love, I am nothing. If I give away all of my possessions and I hand over my body to be burned, but do not have love, I gain nothing. So here Paul is talking about the greatest gift of all, love. And what do we see? In the Rider-Waite Tarot deck, I don't know if this is what the artist intended to show or not. Maybe I'm just reading something into it, but this is the beauty of tarot. You know, you can read a lot of different things into each card. And every time you look at a card, you may notice something different each time. But here, on this representation of the Magician card, the one thing that you notice, the first thing you see is the Magician. But as far as the elements are concerned, one of the first things that you see is the cup, the chalice, you know, right here if you're watching on video. Right there to the side of the Magician, it's the tallest element there on that table. And the cup, the chalice, represents love and the emotion. It's almost as if the Rider-Waite Tarot deck is telling us the greatest gift here is love. Operate in love. Use love to make you a better person, to make you a more productive person, to make you more powerful in exercising your other gifts. Now, a lot of people may say, Ralph, okay, Reverend Ralph, whatever. That sounds beautiful, but I think it's BS because everybody knows love in this world will get you nowhere. It's all about what you have, what you know, who you know, and a lot of times it's more who you know than anything else. Yeah, I've been in the real world myself. I'm 65 years old, well, going on 65. And so, yeah, I've had a lot of life experience as well as ministerial experience. And I've seen where love can be a tremendous asset, where exercising a good, healthy self-love and a good, healthy love for other people and a good, healthy love for the God of your understanding can really make the difference between finding success in your life and failure. I was listening. Lately, we've been talking a lot about UFO disclosure. Now, that's something that I'm pretty excited about because I've spent a lot of time, you know, reading the scriptures, and I've also spent a lot of time listening to people that have had UFO experiences, and I am an experiencer myself. So I know that the UFO phenomenon is real, and I've been waiting for disclosure since the 1970s. And I've heard all this talk before, so I'm somewhat skeptical. But one guy that's in the field of UFO disclosure, ancient aliens, scripture studies, all that stuff, Billy Carson. And Billy Carson was talking on a video that I listened to just the other day where he was sharing about how love can make the difference in your professional life. He was sharing that among the other things that he's done, he once was a professional basketball coach, used to coach, you know, for teams that were heading for the Olympics, and yeah, women's basketball coach. And he said there was this one experience he had where he had this one woman who was incredibly talented. He said she could go from, you know, the small time, I think at that time it was like high school basketball. He said she could easily make the transition from high school to the pros, no problem. Her talents were that good. And he had these other talent scouts coming in, whatever they call them in basketball. but they were looking at the other girls on the team, and they were looking at this one exceptional girl. And they all said, we're not really interested in her. And Billy Carson, excuse me, I think I'm getting his last name wrong, but anyway, Billy was asking them, well, why not? Why aren't you interested? She's clearly the best player that I have. She can go places. She's got what it takes. And they said, well, yeah, but we've noticed the way that she treats her team members, the way that she treats her teammates. She does not really treat them with respect. She doesn't really treat her belongings with respect. In other words, she was all about her. She was all about her talents. She wasn't much of a team player. She wasn't much for other people. These coaches, they weren't looking for a superstar that would only be a superstar. They were looking for a team player who could also be a superstar. And that is the one quality that young lady lacked, is the ability to work with others, to show respect to others, to show respect for her belongings, and as well as have respect for herself and her own abilities. She was all about herself. She knew what her abilities were, but again, she had not love. Love made the difference in that pick, because these other coaches, these other scouts, they were going through Billy's team and they were picking out, yeah, I'm interested in this one. I'm interested in this one. The one player that had the most talent, that really had the strongest ability of being a tremendous athlete, is the one that they overlooked because she had not love. She wasn't a team player. And so love can really make the difference in whatever your talent is. And this kind of floored me, because in sports, the way that I've seen sports play out over my life, we see a lot of guys out there who are hot dogging. We see a lot of women out there who are hot dogging it. It's all about them, all about, worship me, worship my talents, and not so much of a focus on the team. But this can have, in sports, in business, in anything, being a team player can make the difference. Having that ability to make social connections and to realize you don't have to be doing everything on your own can make you far more successful in anything that you do. But I've got an example here, again, from the world of sports, which is kind of weird for me because I'm not much of a sports fan at all. Ask me any sports question about teams nowadays. I don't know. I don't follow it. But back in high school, back in the 1970s, I was not interested in sports back then either. But somehow I got roped into being a statistician for the team. I was one of two statisticians. And what we do is that we have our little clipboard there, a little pin, and we'd sit down there and watch the games. And we'd be watching the game and we'd be recording, which player made the shot, which player got the rebounds, which player did this, that, and the other thing. And there was this one game that we were playing, and I had a ringside seat for it because I was taking stats for the game. And this was a game that was between our high school, which was a small, might as well say in the sports world, it was second or even third rate high school. And we were going up against this other team that was like first in the division. We were not expected to win. And we had one player. My God, I'll call him Mark, because that was his real name. I am not going to give his last name, But yeah, we had Mark, an incredibly talented player. I mean, that guy, I don't know if he went professional. I don't think he did. But I mean, yeah, he probably could have played pro after high school if he had wanted to. But I mean, he had the skills. He had the talent. That guy was an incredible athlete. And in the beginning of the game, he was hot dogging it. He was going down the court, he was making the shots, he was getting the points. The other team would get the ball, they'd be making the points. And yeah, it was all about pretty much the other team versus Mark. And then it got down to the point where we were really tied neck and neck with the other team. During a game that we were expected to lose, we were tied neck and neck with that first-rate team in that division. And Mark was wearing out. And the other team noticed. They noticed Mark. They realized, okay, this guy is hot dogging it. So instead of letting him make the points, we're going to put 3, 4, 5 guys on him to keep him from making the shot, to keep him from scoring, and then we're going to score and we're going to go ahead and win this game. I have a feeling that's what they were thinking, because they had seen how Mark was playing, not necessarily as a team member, but as, solo. Because, I mean, he was kind of going for the most points scored and all that. He was going for a few records himself. And to his immense credit, Mark realized something. He realized this game is not all about me. It's about the team. It's about winning for the school. And so what he did, this is a move that surprised the coach. This is a move that surprised some of the spiritual leaders in our high school, because it was a high school seminary. And what Mark did is that he stopped hot dogging it. Instead of grabbing the ball and taking it down the court all by himself like he had been used to, he started feeding it to the other players. This was something that the other team did not expect, and it worked. We scored a few points to win that game by, I forget how much it was, 2, 4 points, something like that. But I mean, it was a victory, but I mean, it was a major victory because we were a small second or third rate team in that division going up against the first rate team in that same division, and we were not expected to win. We took it. We took that game. And the reason why we took it is Mark. He woke up, he realized this game isn't all about me. It's about the rest of the team. And his love for the team, his love for the school, his love for the sport made the difference between winning and losing. And that's one power that love has. Whatever you do, whether you're in the financial world, getting to know and understand people is important. Whether you're in real estate, whether you're in church work, whether you're in retail business, retail grocery, whether you're a sacker at Walmart, a greeter at Walmart, whatever you do, if you do it with love, you are going to stand out. You go into a lot of businesses where you have a lot of employees. They feel like they're overworked, underpaid. They're not really there to give you, top service. They're just trying to get through their day as best they can, collect that paycheck, get the heck out of that sweatshop, go back home. The people that treat the customers, their clients, with respect and with love are the ones who stand out. If I have the tongues of angels but have not love, I am nothing. If I give away all that I have and even hand my body over to be burned, but have not love, I have gained nothing. Love is the secret sauce that makes everything else work. The universe, I believe, in my own cosmology and my own worldview, the universe is fueled by love. And when we minimize it, when we reject it, when we focus on other things in the material world, and I mean, we're all pretty much materialists in this day and age. You know, if I can't see it, if I can't feel it, if I can't touch it, it doesn't exist. Well, love is one of those things. Intangible. You can experience it right here. And when you do, when you open up your heart to it, it can and will make the difference. How do you motivate people to be better team players? Love. You can offer to pay them more money. Yeah. Work with the team, be a better team player, we'll pay you more money. But I mean, the absolute best way is to inspire them through love. And when you can do that, I mean, you can motivate people to become better versions of themselves, to do a better quality of work in the workplace, to be better, more valuable members of their community, whether you're talking about civic communities, church communities, local communities, whatever. But I mean, man, if you have the gift of love and you can awaken that gift in other people, you can make them better, whatever. Better butchers, better bakers, better candlestick makers, whatever they do, whatever you do. If you do it with love, you can go from being second rate or third rate or even a first rate player that doesn't get along well with others and people in PR don't like you because you're more of a problem than what they think you're worth. If you can do everything with love, then you can absolutely excel. Excel. How do you pronounce that? Excel, I guess. Kind of like the Windows thing, huh? Yeah, Microsoft, whatever. You can absolutely excel in this life, in whatever it is that you do. Because when you start doing your job, your craft, your work, whatever, your career with love, you're going to stand out. You're going to be that odd duck that everybody else tends to notice. And some people will scoff. Some people will laugh at you. Some people will make fun of you. But then a lot of people will come to understand and respect you because they realize not only are you talented in this one area, you know how to do it with love, which makes you very talented in another area. And so that's one meaning that we can draw, one very practical meaning that we can draw from the magician card. We all have a variety of talents. A lot of times, people will think they have only one talent, basketball, football, whatever, the dumb jock kind of thing. And other people may realize, okay, I'm good at sports. I'm also pretty intellectual. And I'm also pretty spiritual. So I've got those talents going for me. But I mean, what we tend to do in this life is we will focus on one thing that we think is going to get us through in our careers, in our lives, and we don't realize that we've got other talents there hiding beneath the surface that we're leaving untapped. And sometimes these talents go together. Mark, great basketball player. He was gifted in basketball. He developed that talent, spent a lot of hard work developing that talent. He also had the gift of love. He also had the gift of being able, the gift of wisdom, be able to realize right there on the floor, I need to change tactics here. I need to quit acting like the team and start working with the real team. And I mean, when we start to realize the different talents that we have, different ways that we can influence people, different ways that we can persuade people. It's like in acting, Hollywood. I don't know much about that. I've seen a lot of movies, yes. I haven't seen the most recent movies, no. But one thing that I've heard is that producers, directors, a lot of times if they're operating on a very low budget movie and they want to get a big actor, they can't afford to pay him. Maybe they don't have like $10 million to pay this one actor to come in and act, but maybe they can give him something else that the actor would like, something else that the actor needs, maybe more publicity, maybe something else. And I do know a lot of people in various businesses. In business, a lot of times we think we need to buy this, that, and the other thing. Well, there are other ways to do it. A lot of times you can get help from other people, not by buying their help, but by giving them something in return other than money that they need. And yeah, if you learn to kind of broaden your horizons, you learn to think outside of the box, think about your other talents, think about the other things that you can use. Don't think about one gift, one talent. Start thinking about 5. Who am I spiritually? What can I do on a spiritual level to help improve my life and the lives of others? What can I do financially on the financial level? Again, to improve my life or the life of others or to make an impact in the world. What can I do in my heart, gift of love, to make the world a better place and excel? What can I do with the energy, my passion, my talents, my writing skills and creative skills? That's pretty much the suit of wands right there. What can I do there? How can I use that to make the world a better place? Make a better me in the process? And swords. How can I use my mind, my intellect, my gift of wisdom and reason to make my life better and to improve the lives of others as well? You begin to start thinking 5-dimensionally like that, rather than 1-dimensionally. You can really make a difference in your life, your family's life, and the life of your local community. So yeah, that's a lesson from the magician card. You've got more than one talent. You've got at least 2 there. You've got the one thing that you recognize, the one thing that you see in yourself, your one skill that you know you have, and then you got love, which you may not think is important. But if you can take love, combine that with the other talent or talents that you have that you recognize, you can go from being mediocre or even go from being great to being truly outstanding in your field. So yeah, love will make the difference. Okay, now we've come to the conclusion of this podcast here, Tarot for Personal Development. Tomorrow, be taking a look at the High Priestess card. Till then, have a great day. It looks like we didn't get any people live on X, so I'm just going to wrap this up. So anyway, yeah, have a great day. We'll catch you later. Tomorrow, the High Priestess will be back here again, 8 a.m. in the morning. So if you're listening to the recording on X or anywhere else, we're doing this 8 a.m. Central Time, Monday through Friday with a few exceptions, and talking about tarot for personal development. So, yeah, catch me again tomorrow at 8 a.m. and have a great day. Ralph signing out. Bye-bye.